Доброго времени суток, ребят, вы на канале WW Let's Play, с вами Вячеслав, и мы продолжаем с вами играть в Vampyr. В прошлой части мы сбегали в морг, попиздились там со скалями со всякими, вот, собрали лекарство, собственно, чем мы туда шли. И теперь у нас по заданию... Так, вот у нас задание, это все выполнено, это первый акт был, точно. Вот, крыса в больнице. Поговорить с Эдгардом Свонси. И еще мы поперезнакомились почти со всей больницей. Осталось немного человек. Ну, как бы, я пока не вижу смысла что-то ходить, искать, бегать их. Пока. Так, и два расследования выполнили по поводу найденного кошелька и врачебной ошибки. В принципе, мы можем с ним маленько попиздеть. Еще, потому что мы с этой теткой поговорили, типа, не будем его выдавать, все дела. А, да, и вот Тельма Хоукрофт, она считает себя вампиром. И, типа, говорит, что за ней все люди что-то, блядь, следят, и вообще опасно все, и вообще страшно, и надо прям помочь ей. Но не сегодня. Вот это слежка, я не могу понять, что это, но давайте мы попробуем. Тельма, бла-бла-бла. Попробуем с Тельмой поговорить еще раз, может она нам что-нибудь все-таки... Где ты есть, ты, ёб твою мать? Вон ты ходишь. Во, давай мы еще с тобой поболтаем. Может ты что-то все-таки мне скажешь?
Fear and disgust on every street corner. The daily routine.
Good evening, Miss Howcroft.
Все.
How are you tonight?
I need blood, Doctor. Warm, rich, vibrant blood.
Who are you really, Miss Howcroft? I mean, apart from being a vampire.
Is that not enough for you, puny mortal? What do you require? Proof of my powers?
I'm curious to know who you were before becoming a vampire.
No, such a long time ago, I don't remember. Centuries of unholy life can have strange effects on one's minds, you see?
Ладно. Жизнь в Лондоне. Ты из
I'm assuming
пациентов?
you must be a patient here. Am I right, Miss Howcroft?
It's only a cover. To hide from my enemies. I can leave whenever I want. As a woman, a spirit, fog, or bat.
Ну, на самом деле нет.
Who are these enemies you mentioned? Can you describe them?
I cannot say for sure. But I sense their eyes on me from nearby. I feel them watching me every time I visit the garden near the morgue.
Мор ходила.
And why do you believe you're a vampire?
I don't need to believe anything. It is what I am. It is what I feel within this hollow shell of flesh.
I see. Have you ever heard of Cotard's syndrome, Miss Howcroft?
Never.
It's a mental illness discovered by a French neurologist named Jules Cotard. The affected patients are delusional. They believe that they are putrefying, that they are dead, a ghost or a ghoul, or in your case, a vampire.
Delusional, you say? Oh, sad and petty mortal. You can't even begin to understand the concept of immortality. And you think it is I who am delusional.
Please, describe to me how you feel. What is it like to be a vampire?
I can hear my body crumble from the inside as my flesh cracks and fades. I sense the last pulse of postulant blood within my drying veins. I need new blood.
Ясно. Дура ты, короче. Личные вопросы мы задавали.
I'll leave you, Mistress of the Dark, to your nocturnal activities.
Дура ты. А, это внизу, да? А еще наверх можно подняться? Что там можно найти? Ничего не можем найти. ящичек. Тетрад железа. Еще что-то блестит. И там что-то блестит. Карта пациента. Где-то здесь, да, наверное? Нет? А где? Так, вот так. Нет. Нет. Карта пациента. Доктор в типе состояния выздоравливает. Во время войны было обожжено, деформировано при взрыве. Даже получая самый сильный успокаивающий, он испытывал сильнейшую боль. Огонь все еще горит под кожей. Осмотр рубцующихся тканей не показал следов воспаления, инфекции или отеков. Шрамы чистые. Может, это случай неизлечимого повреждения нервов? Пациент постоянно винит себя в своих физических уродствах. Может, это случай чувства вины выжившего? Фантомная боль как наказание за то, что он не умер вместе со своими товарищами. Томас Элвуд. Знаем мы такого. Социальный слой. Что-то он нам может сказать с ней? Интересно. Что-то он как-то, сука, связан с ней. Так, где у нас главврач-то, ёпт? Свонси, да.
Please, Jonathan, come in.
Че, быть или не быть, что ли? Что ты череп-то держишь?
Fascinating, is it not? In the last decade, so many mysteries have been brought to light with our microscopes. The human body, biology's penultimate frontier. The more we explore its boundaries, the less we're able to trace a clear line between life and death. You, my friend, have a foot in both countries. The view must be vertiginous.
It's at least as vertiginous as chatting about vampires with you, I would say.
This must be all so new to you. This area of town, the hospital, a brand new life. How stimulating it must be.
I wish I could share your enthusiasm, Dr. Swansea, but my condition defies scientific categorization. Undead? Unalive? Immortality defies logic.
I cannot express my thrill at this serendipitous turn of events. The world's most eminent specialist in blood transfusions, a vampire. One might say a gift from heaven.
Это не
I'm
дар.
a dead man. I was murdered. Now I'm a murderer. Tell me how this is a gift.
Forgive me. I've been an admirer of your work for a long time, and now you are so much more than a brilliant physician. And please, call me Edgar.
I'm not some doe-eyed student, Edgar. I understand we both have something to gain from this relationship.
Very well. I have a task for you, Jonathan. Something that will require all your newfound skills.
Please, go on.
The Pembroke only survives through the generosity of our benefactors. Unfortunately, our main donor has found herself in a bit of a bind. Now, if you could help her out...
A spokesman or politician is what you need. That's not my calling. And until I come to understand what has happened to me, I require discretion.
Discretion is in order, Jonathan. Lady Ashbury has recently received rather indelicate correspondence that, if revealed, would jeopardize her position.
And you would like me to eradicate this threat?
By the stole, of course not. I would just like you to pay her a visit. Her ladyship is certainly near the tents outside, tending the sick. You can't miss her. Look for someone impossibly delicate.
Accepted. I'll see what kind of trouble Lady Ashbury is in.
Леди Эшбери. Тут пошарахаться можно что-нибудь найти? Оп. Новые редкие виды вампиров. Как же, блять, много. Если что, на паузе, ребят, почитайте виды вампиров. Письмо с предупреждением. Опасения. В случае с доктором и Харви мистера госпитализировали с тяжелой производственной травмой. Правильный курс лечения, он может лишиться руки. Можешь полностью исцелить. А я заявляю, что рука навсегда многих функций, если возникнут осложнения. Смелый одаренный хирург, и через несколько лет он, возможно, превосходным специалистом станет, но сейчас не обладает необходимым навыком для проведения такой рисковой операции. Должен ли я напомнить вам об ошибках, которые он совершил в прошлом, поскольку доктор Стрикленд отказывается меня слушать, и настоятельно рекомендую вам запретить ему проведение столь опасного эксперимента. Ага. Вот. Познания вызывали споры в медицине раньше, ясно? Может, у тебя что-нибудь там, какая-нибудь хрень есть какая-нибудь интересная? Ну-ка, так просто, если с тобой поболтать, что-нибудь ты мне скажешь интересного?
Do you need something, Jonathan?
У меня
I have just a
куча
few
вопросов.
questions.
Просто
Then ask away.
ёбнешься.
I'm at your service, Doctor.
Насчет
You
братства.
mentioned something about a secret society, a brotherhood, if I recall. Could you elaborate?
Certainly. I've been a member of the Brotherhood of St. Paul's Stole for several years. We are pledged to monitor and report vampire activity in England as impartial scientific observers.
Yet you don't fear me. And still, you know the monster that lurks beneath the civilized surface.
The Brotherhood has studied your kind for centuries. We believe you are as supernatural as a lion is to a gazelle.
That explains your nightly wanderings about the docks and the questions you ask.
I feel it wasn't mere coincidence that led us to that part of town. There was something as yet unseen that set those chain of events in motion.
Мистик, ёпта.
Since I'm the one working for you, what should I know about Pembroke Hospital?
Well, for many years, we have been the only medical facility in this part of town that people can rely on. We support the community here, as well as provide health care.
What do you expect of me?
What we need is hope. You were a soldier. This is a war. This white coat's still a uniform. We fight to help the poor, the sick of the East End, the forgotten.
Where do we stand today?
Well, to be honest, we cope on a day-to-day basis. The first wave of the Spanish flu last summer took us by surprise. We lack many of the basic necessities needed.
Про больницу, про братство узнали.
Since you seem quite the expert on vampires, what could you tell me about my condition and how it came about?
As men of science, our first step is always to start with what we know. Forget the myths, the hackneyed scrawlings, and the penny dreadfuls. They do not scratch the surface of the truth you now find yourself in.
Must I take a life to live?
You are a vampire. You feed, and blood is the sole sustenance that can sustain your immortal frame. And only a living creature contains the nourishment you require.
The sun. The morning following my transformation. Its rays burned me. There was pain, smoke, and my skin blackened.
You will find there is very little that can kill a vampire, my friend. You have been offered relative immortality. The sun will most certainly hurt you, leaving you weakened and damaged, but it will not destroy you.
Да, это мы читали.
The man we pursued and slew in the canning factory, William Bishop, I believe, was he a vampire?
He was a Skald, technically speaking. The debate rages as to their classification. Some think them a subspecies of vampire, others something else.
How do Skulls come into existence?
The name means slave. The etymology may indicate that they are a lesser species of vampire. From what I know, vampires tend to despise them.
Ну, мы их просто режем.
Just for clarity, what differences are there between myself and a scowl?
A skull is easier to eliminate, Jonathan, even if they remain formidable foes for the unprepared. Vampires... Now, vampires exist beyond the mortal realm.
Короче, это не до вампир, ясно.
We'll see each other again soon, Edgar.
Йоу. Нам бы крови где-нибудь надыбать по-хорошему. Томас. Эдгар Суонси. 6000 единиц, ебать. А, туда еще как-то люди ходили, я видел. В конце того задания сюда чувачок проходил. Ах ты, сука, закрытый. А тут что-нибудь двери, да, тоже закрытые какие-нибудь. И... Да, нету ничего. Но пойдем вниз. Поболтаем с бабехой. О, мы сейчас с Томасом поговорим. Ой, блядь. Потому что он что-то может нам сказать про это недовампиршу, которая разлагается. Привет.
Good evening, sir. Can I help you?
Unless you're here to fix my face. No. I don't think you can help me.
I'm Dr. Reed. I've recently taken the position of head surgeon here. War injuries, am I right?
You guessed right, Doctor. German shell took my pretty little mug right off. But they still call me Thomas Elwood.
Have you heard rumors of underhand dealings in the hospital?
If you want to know what's going on here, you better talk to Miss Jones. She knows everything. Especially what she shouldn't.
Мисс Джонс. Ладно. Давай
Where
сначала
were you
про армию.
stationed, sir? Did you serve for long?
I really don't want to talk about all this shit.
No offense. I was pushing too much. I served in France myself. I just wanted to know what happened to you.
You were an officer, weren't you? Then I doubt we fought the same war, sir. No offense.
О,
How close are you to Miss Horcroft? Are you aware that she thinks she is a vampire?
To wait for her next nibble is the best reason to stay here. Every time she approaches my bed, she treats me like something tasty. A normal person.
Aren't you afraid? She may hurt you if the game goes too far.
She's quite harmless, I can assure you. Her head's broken inside is all. While I'm busted on the outside. But she's still beautiful. Living proof that there's hope for me.
So do you let her bite you? You know that's not sanitary.
And why not? She's only supping a few drops of me blood. And the pain,
ты
it's real
кормишь?
for once.
She could decide to bite less willing patients.
Then it's another good reason for me to stay here, Doctor.
You do realize she's mentally disturbed. It's called the Cotard syndrome. She truly believes she's a vampire.
In her madness, she never refers to my scars. And frankly, if I could, I'd join her world. It seems much more fun than the real one.
А что про личные? А, мы задавали... Ну-ка.
Why do you feel responsible for the injury, Thomas? What really happened?
I wasn't disfigured by any German shells. It happened during my leave. It was an accident.
Опа.
Tell me what really happened then.
I went with a whore in Rouen. Dead drunk I was. The hotel was a shithole. There was a fire that night.
Did you start the fire? Were you trying to avoid going back to the front? That's not uncommon, you know.
No. It's just that I was asleep when the flames reached the room. The girl was long gone. Bitch never woke me up. Left me to burn.
Вот ты
Why lie about it?
проститутка,
Come
сука.
on. It's one thing to come back disfigured by the Germans, and it's another to get injured in an accident that could have happened to anybody.
Reconstructive surgery has been very successful for some soldiers.
I don't want to wear a bloody mask for the rest of my life. I'd rather stay here and just be forgotten.
Это сука.
How is your stay with us, Mr. Elwood?
Oh, it's bliss. I just escaped death in the trenches to be surrounded again by the moans of the dying.
Can I ask you precisely why you're a patient here?
It's the pain, sir. The drugs don't work. It just hurts under the scars, if you get my drift.
Who is treating you? Is someone in particular looking after your case?
Nobody since the old and tired doctor spoke to me. Started to think I was forgotten about. Wouldn't blame you.
You don't seem worried by that.
My face hurts so much more when I smile or cry. I've learned it's easier not to speak. But be assured I'm smiling inside.
Can I do anything for your pain?
Nurses gave me a bunch of pills. No effect. Told you. It's like the flames are under my skin, burning away.
Бла-бла-бла, бла-бла-бла.
Goodbye for now,
Всё.
Mr. Elwood.
Damn.
Так, так. Нет, это не то. С этим мы поболтали. Тут какой-то врач. Да, блядь, ты что ж ты? С покровительницей больницы.
It's here again.
Так, Пипа, она же, блядь, деньги, да, берет, насколько я помню. Почему разговор начинается с загрузок-то? Ты чё? Зачем нам загрузки? Вчера ты все хорошо вообще загружала. Просто разом. Пуф, и все.
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
What steps are you prepared to take to feel more useful?
I don't know yet. My sister believes that the real fight is in the streets nowadays. Maybe she's right. Maybe this is what I must do.
And what about Milton Hooks? Does he share your point of view?
For Milton, any change means more comfort and more peace. I disagree.
If you feel that saving lives is not useful enough, perhaps it means that you've lost faith.
On the contrary, my faith has never been stronger. Maybe we are all just too proud to face up to the fact that science cannot compete with God.
Ну давай еще раз.
Pepper, I know you're very close to Milton Hooks.
Yes, Milton Hooks is my man. If you want to report me for that, just feel free, Doctor.
I have no intention of reporting you, Nurse Hawkins, but are you aware of the risks?
The rules say I won't be allowed to work as a nurse anymore. But here at the Pembroke, we break rules all the time.
Is he worth the risk?
Hey, I'm no perfect woman, and Milton is not the finest bloke, but we do our best to get by. That's all any of us can hope for nowadays.
Ми-ми-ми, ёпта.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
Так. Это вампирша там сидит. Вот, ты, по-моему, должна
Dr.
знать.
Reed, may I help you?
Личные.
Well,
Ну,
Dr.
давай, по
Swansea
очереди.
certainly has confidence in your abilities. Are you in charge of the nursing staff?
Not in an official capacity, but the Pembroke doesn't always work above board, so to speak.
How is the duty roster organized?
Everybody works until they can't. If there's time, they'll eat a meal and shed a silent tear.
Ну, давай про
What
устав.
about medical protocols?
Dr. Reed, we don't have the money and resources here at the Pembroke like they do in the West End. We do what we can.
For how long have you been working here, Nurse Crane?
I first volunteered at the Pembroke in 1911, a few months after Dr. Swansea was appointed.
And before you arrived here?
If you must know, this was my first job.
What can you tell me about the epidemic, Nurse Crane? I've been out of touch since I've come back to England.
Everyday folk don't know how bad it is. The papers certainly won't tell them. Not as long as the war is raging on, anyway.
News on the front stated that the Spanish flu was under control, at least in Britain.
It seemed to be for a while, but that was only last summer. It returned with a vengeance just over a month ago.
I'll see you later, Nurse Crane.
Короче, эпидемия не планирует заканчиваться. Ясно, все. Блять, покровительница, где ты, ёб твою мать? На улице, что ли? Ебить твою мать, чё, походить надо? О, я могу же про тебя что-то почитать.
Good evening, Dr. Tibbets.
Dr. Reed, any good news to share?
У тебя же вроде... А, я нолик посчитал из-за... Ну, ясно. Нет.
Have you heard of any underhand dealings going on in this hospital?
I have no time for such triviality, my dear colleague. We're here to save lives.
What can you tell me about the staff in the hospital?
Some are really good, and others are not so good. But during this troubled period, there is no time for slander. I prefer to focus on the positive character traits.
Any opinion about the management?
I don't always agree with Dr. Swansea's reserve, but I must admit he does all he can to keep this facility running during this crisis.
Ah, yes, the burden of command. I was fed up with this concept while serving as a medical officer.
Don't get me wrong. Swansea's a good administrator. I just wish he would get out of his office down again.
Tell me more about cherished people, then.
Nurse Brannigan is a pearl. She is the most helpful and dedicated nurse I've ever worked with. A clever and cheerful woman.
You really seem to admire her skills.
Чё? Разбирается лучше, чем полагается медсестре. Ясно.
I'll go even further.
А тут чё? Ясно.
If she was a man, she would be a damn fine practitioner.
What is the Pembroke Hospital situation? And please, speak freely.
This hospital is not exactly the best of London. I'm sure you are used to working in a better environment.
It's not exactly the best situation in London either. I can't have expected this hospital to be prepared for what was to come.
Don't be misled by appearances, Dr. Reed. This hospital does not lack talented people. It just lacks hope.
Все спросили. Все, что можно.
Goodbye, Dr. Tibbets.
Так, пойдем с... Блять, с тетей поболтаем. Там еще в ящике что-то есть. Что есть в ящике? Опиум. Опиум это хорошо. О, блять.
The flu took my dear wife, Emily. I take comfort knowing we'll soon be together again.
Mr. Rainfield, that's no way to talk. You're in good hands here, and we'll be up again soon enough.
Все.
Now do me a kindness and get some sleep. I'll be back round later.
Your words are kind, the blessings of an angel. You're the sweet, sweet lady of mercy.
Она ж та самая вампирша, которая нас спасла.
Good evening, Dr. Reed. It's a pleasure to see you again. You seem surprised. Dr. Swansea has brought me up to speed concerning your recent appointment to Pembroke Hospital.
You're a the lady who saved me that night, before vanishing into thin air. I remember you from the pub with Dr. Swansea.
Indeed. Allow me to introduce myself formally this time. My name is Lady Ashbury. I remember you well, in spite of the brevity of our encounter.
Apologies. You've taken me by surprise. I'm very happy to see you.
The pleasure is mine, Doctor.
I hope you're more disposed to answer my questions now.
You must have countless questions, but our rather urgent matter first. Swansea has explained. My cover, if you prefer, has been compromised.
Pardon my boldness, Your Ladyship, but I have questions concerning this condition we share.
As a newborn, your hunger for answers is rivaled only by your thirst for blood. But the questions need wait.
I'm a scientist. My trade is in the deciphering of mysteries, and I need information to feed my mind.
I will gladly answer every question you have, but first, prove yourself capable of resolving my predicament without eating the culprit.
Have any of the patients given you trouble?
Не будем мы никого жрать, мы же решили, мы добрые
I do
хирурги.
my best to ease their pain.
The world would be a better place if it were cared for by women like you.
You make me blush. I am simply a necessary evil.
Dr. Swansea has commissioned me to be your agent in this matter. You could start by explaining what's amiss.
These past insufferable weeks, I've been the victim of extortion. I've made a first payment, but the blackmailer grows greedy. I must refuse his most recent demands.
Who would be so foolish as to threaten you? A kindred spirit.
Even if it were the case, and I highly doubt it, a vampire would have asked for something more valuable than money. My suspicions lean toward a patient or their family.
Да? И что ты
What are
хочешь?
your expectations? Please be precise.
As the newly appointed surgeon of this hospital, you are in an excellent position to ask innocent questions and deftly learn the identity of my blackmailer.
А чё сама?
If we're dealing with an ordinary criminal, surely you've the means to deal with it yourself, if I may.
As immortal tradition doth dictate, all fangs and hypnotic eyes ablaze, the blood would run like a river. That's what I hope to avoid. Violence has a tendency to spiral out of control.
Ага.
Please continue. Every detail is essential. I'm your man.
My embarrassment in this matter is eclipsed only by my shame at having put the hospital at risk. The threat from our anonymous scoundrel is clear. A list of dates. My visits coinciding with the dates of suspicious patient deaths due to massive blood loss.
Ну-ка.
Is it true?
Now aren't you the blunt one?
Слышь? Я тоже
You are
хочу.
aware that I too know the thirst for the scarlet nectar.
In all honesty, I'm not simply a patron to the hospital. My visits serve a dual purpose. Dr. Swansea has been treating my condition with a revolutionary technique of blood transfusion. It seems you are a specialist in the domain.
I'll take
Просто
care of it.
вливает тебе кровь?
Do you know where I should start?
If that was the case, I'd settle the matter myself. You could talk to our local gossip, Harriet Jones. Not a pin drops here without her hearing about it.
I'll meet that woman now.
My life, as others know, is in your hands, Dr. Reed. I'm sure of your discretion, but I do fear your powers of persuasion will be put to the test. When this is resolved, I'll be your obligé. I'll answer all questions in regards of your condition.
Ну смотри, сучка, если вдруг чё, я ж тебя найду. Доктор. Неизвестная какая-то. Тельма. Типа. Чувак с обожженным лицом. О, дверь открытая. Это ты, которая все знает и сидела все время за закрытыми дверями?
What is this? Who are you? Get out of my room.
There's no need for alarm, madam. I'm Dr. Reed, the new surgeon.
Preposterous. Dr. Reed, you say? I don't want some bumbling intern. Where's Dr. Swansea?
Relax,
Please, calm down, madam. I assure you that I am highly qualified. I'm just back from war duty.
How brave. Threatening an old defenseless woman. You know how long I've been a patient here? You've picked the wrong fight. I'm Harriet Jones.
Harriet Jones? Indeed. I've been meaning to have a chat with you. You know what goes on here better than any other patient, I gather.
Oh, better than any patient, nurse or doctor. I've seen so many vile undertakings.
I heard there have been some despicable goings-on. Was there a case of blackmail?
Blackmail? Wait. You're investigating something. This isn't a social call. One of those incompetent cunts slit a poor sod's vein.
If I didn't know better, Miss Jones, I'd be inclined to say you enjoy this type of idle gossip.
God's honest truth, Doctor. It's just the way it is here. Most of these bitches would let you freeze to death before getting you a blanket.
You seem to know more about the goings-on here than anyone else. Beware, Miss Jones, in case suspicion should fall on you.
That's it. Blame the old and infirm. I see those little bitches' greedy little eyes. Just waiting for me to pop off they are.
Сучки, прям ее любимое слово.
I assure you, madam, this is not an investigation into a possible medical error.
Debauchery, then? Nurses Crane, Hawkins, Brannigans, whores, all of them. They can't keep their legs shut. I've seen them scratching slutty sores.
Really? Well, if you have irrefutable proof, I'll not have the staff behaving in such a manner here.
This is your business, Doctor, not mine. But I swear one of the nurses is cavorting with some man on hospital hours.
Thank you for your time, Miss Jones. You've given me something to go on. See you on the next round.
А почему Пипу... со всеми, да, надо
The patients and
поболтать?
staff might know something. I'll start my investigation with them.
Пипа Хокинс, да. Привет, еще,
Good
блин,
evening,
столько
Mr.
разговоров,
Good
это
evening, Dr.
жесть.
Reed.
Конечно, понятно, что игра на этом в основном поставлена, и пизделовка с вампирами это так, чисто чтобы разнообразить жизнь.
What can you tell me about
Блин.
the strange man visiting one of the nurses during her shift?
Let me guess. You spoke with that old shrew, Harriet Jones. Do not pay attention to her, Doctor. She's full of fanciful tales.
She could have been telling the truth about the mysterious man.
That old witch will end up in hell soon enough. Who cares if a nurse finds some happiness where she can?
Опа.
No matter how you feel about her, Miss Jones deserves our help.
Who says I don't care for her? Hate is what keeps that old crone alive.
Ну-ка.
What can you tell me about the strange man visiting one of the nurses?
Это я
during
уже
the shift?
тыкал уже, ёпта мать. Да, это можно пропустить, лишнего вопроса нету. Все, мы с тобой
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins.
поболтали. Не понял. Раз, медсестра. Где еще одна? И чё она так далеко там? А ты кто? А, во! Клей, блядь, я
Good
тебя
evening,
столько искал.
Mr. Cox.
Dr. Reed. Still working at night, I see. I like that.
And why is that?
People who don't sleep at night always seem more alive to me.
Как
More
ты ошибаешься,
interesting, one way
ёптать.
or another.
Вот так вот.
Do you ever think about that poor fellow I saw you push in the water?
The wound he gave me will make sure I don't forget him. Still fucking hurts. Boss had cut me good.
What did he want? Revenge?
I recently had to kill his brother. Poor arsehole thought it would be easy to return the favor.
Опа! Убил брата того, кто пытался его убить.
Only the strongest survive, then? Survival at all costs. Is that all you think about?
I'm the toughest bastard you'll ever meet, Dr. Reed. And I don't give a fuck what you think of me.
That man was determined to murder you. You almost died.
What a surprise. The first time I met him, he nearly shit himself. Fucking coward. I guess revenge gives you balls.
How is your hospitalization going, Mr. Cox?
This is a shitty place with shitty staff. As long as I'm treated all right, I'll be fine.
What's wrong with the Pembroke staff?
That bastard you sent to bring me here, Milton. I thought he was going to break all my bones before I reached my bed.
I see. Any other smart comments?
The nurses aren't too ugly. Especially that foxy one, Nurse Crane. Pretty brunette, tough attitude, all like that.
А с
What's
больницей?
wrong with the hospital?
Come on, Dr. Reed. The place is a dump. Smelly, sad, and dirty.
But you're alive thanks to the efforts and dedication of the staff here, aren't you?
What are you expecting, a medal? I thought that saving lives was just part of the job. Must be an unsatisfactory profession at this time, I'm sure.
Вечно недовольный, блядь, надо было сожрать тебя, ублюдок, и все.
How long do you think you can escape the law, Clay?
I know this city like the back of my hand, Doc. I know its streets, who to pay, who to avoid, and who to bully. I won't get caught.
We can't escape the consequences of our actions. The past catches up with us in the end.
I ain't afraid of death. I don't hide who I am. I live my life honestly, which is more than I can say for most folks.
And who are you, then?
I'm the leader of the Wet Boot Boys. One day I'll leave this shitty place and punch in the face all who thought I would not come back.
Ах ты ж, сука, бандюган. Так.
Have you
Шантаж.
heard of any underhand dealings going on in the hospital?
Blackmail? That's not my style. Too risky. The black market, though. Now that's where the money is.
Ясно.
I'll leave you for now, Mr. Cox.
Please, I feel sick. Get over here now.
Так, найти сестру. Она же где-то здесь была, да? Ага, вон там. Что-то можно подобрать.
Good evening, Nurse Brannigan.
Good evening, Doctor.
Do you know if any of the hospital staff have criminal backgrounds? not.
The people who work here all come from very different backgrounds, Doctor. Just like the patients.
Давай.
Why does Dr. Tippett claim you're the main reason he keeps working, despite his fatigue?
If it wasn't for him, I probably would have left the Pembroke years ago.
Dr. Tippett does not think of you as just a nurse anymore, does he?
If you're suggesting he's not taking my gender into consideration when it comes to medical practice and knowledge, I really hope he doesn't.
I'm not familiar with all the staff yet. Perhaps you could help me.
Brilliant professionals, most of them. Dr. Swansea has a gift for recruiting talent.
Most of them. Is there a problem I should know about, nurse?
It would be inappropriate for me to speak ill of a colleague.
Nurse Brannigan, if you do know something, please tell me. Anything you say will be held in confidence.
No. I may disagree with some conduct, but in the end, everybody is doing their best.
Is there anyone that stands out?
Well, I have never met someone as dedicated as Dr. Tippett. He should be a standard for us all here. If only he were younger.
Why should his age be a problem?
I guess it's fair to say he's always pushing himself to the limits. He just doesn't know when to stop and get some rest.
Чё? Доводит до истощения, но отказывается прекращать работу. Ясно.
How are things here?
Not good, to say the least. We're struggling against an invisible enemy, more lethal than any bullet from a gun. It's hard, Doctor.
An invisible enemy? Quite a poetic term for a disease, especially from a nurse.
Sorry, Doctor. These last few weeks have been exhausting. We could all do with a good night's sleep.
Do you think this hospital can survive the epidemic?
We are all volunteers here, and we're trying to hold fast, but how do we beat an invisible killer? Some nurses have already resigned.
Это мы все говорили, и теперь
Have you seen a
то, что
strange
надо.
man visiting any of the nurses here?
I've never heard of such a thing, Doctor.
Да пиздишь.
Goodbye, nurse. Call me if you need assistance.
Дороти. Где у нас Дороти? Так, надо еще дойти бы до этого. Так, ладно, пойдемте пока, короче, к себе в кабинет наберем, если сможем, конечно. Ну, модернизируем что-либо там, либо оружие, либо лекарство сделаем. И потом пойдем еще раз, ну, чтобы быть готовыми, так скажем. О, это что такое? Береги свое чужое здоровье, не кашляй в общественных местах. Инфлюенсу распространяете, плюясь, чихая, кашляя. Болезнь распространяется с капельками, вылетающими из носа и горла. Воздушно-капельным путем, короче, передается вся эта зараза. Второй этаж, и где-то там, в конце коридора у нас кабинет. Да. Где у нас верстачок был? Нет, нет.
The flower's dying. It needs water.
Да, вода нужна. Где возьмем? Хуй его знает. Переутомление создать. Средства онемения от сепсиса, от пневмонии, бронхита. Ничего, короче, не можем сделать. Во! Моментально восстанавливает 300 единиц здоровья, затем здоровье в секунду. Давайте. И еще одну нам хватит. Сыворотки. Средства переутомления. Дальше это разберем. Да, разберем. Че их продавать? Мешочек с мусором. Так. Урон. Кол можем? Собирайте материалы, чтобы повысить уровень оружия. Она будет наносить больше урона, и вы сможете его изменить. Ясно. О, кол можем улучшить. Кол улучшаем. И теперь теперь нам нужен алюминиевый порошок, который хуй его знает где искать. Револьвер. У нас никак ничего не сделать. Часть обычной рукояти 2. Обычный мачете. Пила. Урон одинаковый. Но мы ее и улучшить не сможем. Тут что? Часть обычной рукояти. Алюминиевый порошок, ясно. Так, а мы сейчас сможем прилечь, чтобы... Мы можем прилечь, чтобы распределить здоровье? Ладно, пойдем хотя... Ой, здоровье, говорю, очки. Очки-то крови. Нет, все-таки я прилягу, ну его нахрен. Вдруг начнется пизделовка, а я не готов. Так. Что это у нас? Аутография. Нет. Что у нас тут есть? О, можно сбросить. Но я не буду пока ничего сбрасывать. Вот состояние организма, стойкость. Стойкость. Увеличим выносливость на пару раз, потому что, блядь, как чё пиздится, так все, жопа. Так. Ладно, пока оставим. У нас была стойкость. Быстрое восстановление. Это чё? Да, это нам тоже надо. Так, что еще есть? Сильный укус. Что делает сильный укус? Урон в бою. Запас крови, дикая жажда. Нам надо и запас тогда увеличить. Да. Запас, дикая жажда, это мы объем, который мы поглощаем. Он тоже нам нужен. Состояние организма это здоровье, да? Но это ладно, это попозже. Свертывание тактической теневой завеса. Короче, улучшаем, значит, запас крови, улучшаем стойкость, чтобы нам в драках было нормально биться. Быстрое восстановление. Вот это. И все, наверное. Окейно. Пока как-то так. Следующей ночью. Сейчас тут пойдет. Во. Каждую ночь вы своими действиями улучшаете или ухудшаете состояние района. Состояние также может ухудшиться из-за распространения болезней. Ебаный в рот. Чем больше вы убиваете, тем опаснее становится район. Если состояние здоровья жителей района окажется ниже критического, он погрузится в хаос. Судьбу района решайте вы. Я тебя понял. Ничем не болеет. Ему надо средства переутомления дать, и все будет заебись. Здесь что? Здесь ничего. Здесь мы... Ой, блядь, а что тяжелое-то? Это где? Это что за район? Где эти люди находятся? Все, поспали. Во, энергии у нас дохренища. Теперь будет прям хватать на все дела наши. Так. Сейчас поговорим с медсестрой Дороти. Да ебать, я тут долго плутать еще буду, а? Во, сейчас я тебе
Hey,
лекарство дам.
Doc.
Здорово.
How is your hospitalization going?
This is a shitty place.
Это мы все слышали. Блять, а как тебе
I'll leave
применить-то?
you.
А как на тебя применить лекарство, средство переутомления? Я извиняюсь за, возможно, тупой вопрос. И эти метки, сука, меня уже бесят, блять. Сыворотка на Т. Это все, я понял,
I've
ладно.
never seen so many people dying at the same time.
Тут ничего нету. Девушка. Опа. Если горожанин ведет себя подозрительно, его сердце будет светиться по-особому. Посмотрев на горожанина, вы разблокируете особое действие. Найти Дороти Крейн. Ты кто такой? Что-нибудь про тебя знаю? Ты откуда вообще? Иди сюда, мать твою.
Please, sir. I need help bad.
What's going on?
I'm Blight, sir. Newton Blight. I've lost my mate. Can't find him anywhere.
I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed from the Pembroke Hospital. Please, calm down and give me more details.
Oswald and myself were both infantry, sir. We were en route for the hospital, but we had a disagreement. And Oswald ran off towards the canal.
How long have you been searching for him?
I can't go there. Too many rats by the water. Fucking rats. Can't stand them since the war, sir. Can't stand them at all.
Don't be ashamed, Mr. Blight.
Фобия крыс помешала Ньютону спасти своего пропавшего друга. А ты у нас откуда? Ага, понял тебя.
Many soldiers who survived the trenches suffer from musophobia. I'll see what I can do for your friend. Where was your friend the last time you saw him?
He went down by the canal. He didn't want to go to the hospital. I think he went to the sewers on purpose. So I couldn't go after him.
Nah.
What can you tell me about your friend?
His name is Oswald Thatcher. We survived the war together. Oswald is nervous and quite fragile since we came back from the war.
This is a dangerous part of town. What are you doing here?
We were looking for the Pembroke Hospital. We both need help. Treatment, I mean. To get some sleep. Just need to feel better, sir.
Ясно. А ты кто вообще
What can you
такой?
tell me about yourself?
I'm Oswald's best friend. We served in the same regiment, sir. We've taken care of each other since we came back from the front.
Ясно. Давай.
I
Пока.
have all the information I need for now. If I find anything out about your friend, I'll let you know as soon as I can.
Thank you, Dr. Reed.
Должен будешь, ёбаный рот. Так, где-то тут у нас... А, вон.
You're sure you don't come back with me?
Nah, I have to see someone at the hospital.
Be careful. You look so bad they may keep you as a patient.
Fuck 'em. I don't like hospitals or doctors.
Well then, when you go back to Whitechapel, you may find this useful.
What is it?
A pass for a free medical exam by the best nurse available. Just read it.
I don't read well, but thank you, I guess.
Забавно тебе брюки сидят, чувачок. Дороти, ты же, блядь, центровая наша медсестра. Ты чё, ёпт? Мазафака. Так, ребят, давайте... Нет, давайте все-таки продолжим пизделку эту. Если что, то просто прервемся и продолжим следующую серию. То уже, наверное, час приблизительно идет серия. Сейчас чуть еще побегаем, если что, то просто начнем следующую. Мухи летают. Что за ебаный насос происходит? Кровище там какая-то, блядь. Так, мне надо вот это оружие. Я же видел.
This man has been savagely attacked and dragged to the floor.
Короче, опять эти искали, да, походу? Да, искали, искали. Я тебя высосу, ебать. О, это что такое? Обычная шипованная палица. «110 урона, скорость атаки 5. Хуя себе. А, она двуручная. Где тут у нас было назад? Вот. Это старая коса. Скорость атаки 5, выносливость 30. Еще оглушение есть. Вот так вот, да. Все. Так, а тут у нас... Тут у нас выход, да, какой-то, ладно. По следам крови пока пойдем. О, забавная штука. Так, что надо обойти, да? Сожрали, скали, громилу, да. Ну иди сюда. Раз, два. И все. Тут что-то еще есть. Изгнание дракона. Ладно. Ага.
This is despicable.
Сыворотка регенерации. Походу тут сейчас что-то будет. Ебать, ты где?
What sort of creature is this?
Ебать! Падла, ты кто? Сука! Ебу! Блядь. Пидорас. Так. Чудовище, ебать. Блять, дубинка вообще решает.
Here's what's left of him. Not a lot to check, but I should anyway.
Ох, ебать. Если вы больны, если у вас нет денег, неважно кто вы, неважно откуда, обращайтесь за помощью к Дороти. Никакого обмана, никакой платы.
Some voucher for a free checkup in Whitechapel.
Я упустил след медсестры Дороти после того, как она встретилась с каким-то бандитом. К счастью, мне удалось найти зацепку. У человека, убитого скалями, обнаружился какой-то купон на бесплатный медицинский осмотр в Уайтчепеле. Текст на листовке написан на английском и румынском. На купоне написано, что его владелец должен найти дом некого Дариуса Петреску и спросить Дороти. Может, это Дороти и Дороти Крейн одно лицо? Может, именно она отправила письмо с угрозами леди Эшбери? Мне нужно как можно скорее добраться до Уайтчепела и получить все правильно прочитал. И получить ответы на все вопросы у этой медсестры, если я смогу найти ее там, добраться до этого долбаного.
What is Nurse Crane up to? I really must find her.
Так. Нам надо чё? Куда сейчас? Где у нас буковка М? Ага. Уайтчепел, вот он. Так, ну что ж, ребят, на этой хорошей ноте мы закончим серию. Всем большое-большое спасибо за просмотр. Ставьте лайки, подписывайтесь на канал, подписывайтесь на группу ВК. Пишите комментарии, ставьте пальцы вверх, ставьте пальцы вниз. Давайте общаться, давайте спрашивать друг друга всякие разные вопросы, что вообще, как прохождение, где поднажать, где расслабиться. Всем большое спасибо, всем пока.